AI will think faster than you can to process what you're trying to create. But you have to be trying to create something. So the whole imagination process is still the same. You still have to be a storyteller, and you still have to have a premise, a basic synopsis of what you're trying to do, a treatment of what your story is, the world of your story. You still have to have a character design capacities. You still have to be able to decide what the conflict is, what the inciting incident is, and how you resolve this. But the greatest part of it is every story really aligns on the axis of choice. Regardless of what the conflict is, the reason we follow any story, whether it's written as a novel, as a film, as a piece of music, is to align our ethical compass with that of a character. It's all about how we relate back to the world. Right. That's what storytelling is. And our worldview is the prism through which those decisions and those choices are made. The physical process of writing a script is demystified. And that's what AI does. Now, the question is, will that make jobs and professionals redundant? No. It would ask them to redirect their relevance to that ecosystem. And that's what I think is exciting. So if you are a storyteller, if you are a producer, if you are a cameraman, it's taken away from you many things that you could call mundane. So the expertise in the mundane will diminish.
For me, is how do you bring the historical and the cultural values merging with the use of AI in this new era? So how do you intend to ensure that you bring in the historical values?
In terms of what I keep calling imagination engineering, with all the tools that makes it original. And that means the context, the world, the sounds of the time, the spaces, the clothing, the food, the culture. And that culture will include languages. And today I tell young filmmakers, do you understand why the Oscars will say, for you to qualify for the international, you have to have 70% of your local languages. It's actually because UNESCO has been saying for the last 10 years that given how technology is pervasive, the one thing that is in the gravest danger are cultures. Cultures are in decline. Languages are disappearing. Clothing are becoming, there is appropriation of cultural symbols. And sometimes the films themselves become the spaces where this appropriation is beginning to redefine understanding and redefine identity. For me, for instance, and this is personal, my uncle is Chief Dio Fagua. And he's one of the early first authors of novels in Yoruba language. But he wrote these novels, creating amazing characters in the forest of 1,000 demons. It's been impossible to imagine how to translate that to film. And I've always wanted to do that. But today, the immersive technologies are going to make that not so hard. And they're going to make that not so expensive. But they're also going to be able to make that such that I'm able to spread this story across very different expressions. We'll be able to maybe do a park, we'll be able to do an immersive park like you have with, parks like that in other places. We'll be able to create, a capsule of these stories in different forms. We'll be able to do game with them. We'll be able to turn them into educational tools for Africa's children. If all you do is say you do voiceover, okay? The texture of your voice, your pronunciation, the personality of your voice, AI can sample and will deliver it efficiently in a
Multiple
process for 1,000 different voiceovers going into the future. That is productivity for the agency. The agency will spend less money, less time, will deliver topmost quality.
Faster turnaround time.
But AI does not have a voice of its own. So maybe what we need to do is renegotiate between the owners of the job and you. Here's a sample of my voice. Every time you use it, I get a residual. That's actually a longer term earning prospect than one time for which I get paid. But if you think in a bigger way, it's going to revolutionize advertising or brand communication. All the stuff we used to take a lot of time to do, like even just looking at reference tapes of where something had been done before or not, the algorithm is faster. Can deliver us, it can give you background. The greatest reward of AI is research.
There have been lots of conversation around regularizing AI, and I just need to have your take on that.
AI in a country like Nigeria needs to be seriously monitored simply because we have what I will call pre-existing conditions. Corruption is a pre-existing condition. 419 is a pre-existing condition. People lying in,
not even in used to stealing content and all of those.
Exactly. Piracy. Is a pre-existing condition. And unless we have regulation, AI would simply empower, fast forward, make even 5 times bigger the smaller problems that we think we are managing. Can you imagine someone doing, stealing identity or in the business of misinformation and disinformation, using AI?
Thank you very much, Mr. Femi Odugbemi, once again for your time with us.